Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by UFC veteran Justin Jones. Justin, how are you?
I'm doing great today.
Justin, the name of the game is really random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
One-hit knockout power like Shane Carwin.
Favorite movie?
Super Troopers.
Favorite color?
Sky blue.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Drinking.
Justin, you got a fight coming up November 3rd at Tachi Palace Fights 29. How's training been going for the fight?
It's been going all right. It's been a rough year. I'm not as active as I usually am. I'm usually fighting like 4 times a year, but it's going to pick up next year. It's just ups and downs. We're going to get over it as a team and stuff and get back to rolling next year.
You fought 5 times in 2015. You fought 4 times in 2014, but so far this year, you've only fought once. Why is that? Why have you only fought 1 time this year? Is it because you've had injuries? Is it because you've had fights fall through? Why haven't you fought more than once? What's the story there?
No injuries, though, because half the time I'm always fighting injured, but when someone's throwing a punch at you, usually those injuries and being sick and flu or whatever goes away real quick. There's been a little personal problems at the gym and stuff, but we'll get over it as a team. We're going to work things out and make sure we have a strong year next year. Make it back to the big shows and stuff. Still going to finish fights, still going to go out there and win and kill the person like I always do.
Since leaving the UFC, you're on a 5-fight win streak with 5 stoppages. 4 of those 5 stoppages have come in the first round, and you're looking really good right now. You've shown a lot of improvements since the last time we saw you fight in the UFC. So, what's allowed you to put together this win streak?
Because I really want to make it back to the UFC and to redeem myself. I felt like I was a little starstruck going to the UFC, a little intimidated and stuff, but it's been doing good. It feels like I'm having trouble finding fights now, though, because I don't know why, but it feels like because I guess I've never been finished or knocked out, so people still trying to figure out a way to beat me and stuff, besides beating me off the points and stuff, and all my wins are finishes, so I don't know, man. I'm just having to try to make money and make it back to the big show, man. That's everyone's goal, usually in the fight game.
When the UFC signed you, you were 3-0. You hadn't even been fighting pro for a year. You started your professional mixed martial arts career in January of 2014, and the UFC signed you to fight against Corey Anderson at UFC 181 in December of 2014. So you hadn't even had a year under your belt yet of professional fighting before you got signed to the UFC. So obviously, when the UFC calls, you have to answer that call and accept the fight. But looking back on it now, was it too much too soon?
Oh, no, it was a great experience for me. I don't think it's too much too soon, but you got to see what skill level you're at because, fighting on the lower shows and fighting on the big shows is a whole different story. Fighting on the little shows, every once in a while you'll run into a big-time stud or something, an amateur and pro. But then you make it to the UFC, everyone's a stud. Everyone has lots of fights. Everyone has a background in striking or wrestling or jiu-jitsu. They usually all have at least one specialty. And you got to adjust to it. And now I got a way better training team and stuff. After the UFC, national champion wrestlers and stuff, just the guys I training with stud wrestlers from the UFC and stuff at Alliance. And have victories, so everything's changed. It made me open up my mind to see what I got to do to make it back and make sure I don't get kicked out next time I get there.
The 2 fights that you had in the UFC were both winnable fights. Your fights against Corey Anderson and Ron Stallings. On paper, they looked like good matchups for you, but on those nights, you didn't get the job done. So, what went wrong for you in those fights?
I honestly think that I just didn't have a training team. After the UFC, one of my main training partners now, he's a national champion. Taylor Johnson came into my life and teach me the games. He's my main training partner, my best training partner. He's always there. He has my back. With my coach, Tony Palafox, that helps me with my striking, jits, and everything else and stuff. They make sure I'm in shape for the fight. The problem is I didn't have, like, a fight team back then. Like, now I got, like, this other guy named Jordan that's fighting in RFA for the title. That's going to be in the UFC soon, too. All these wrestling studs at my gym now. That's what I needed before. Like, the first time I lost to a wrestler. The second time, I lost to a striker, in which I should have been without wrestling him. If I had wrestling in my game back then, I think I'd still be in the UFC now. And I'm getting better at my striking. I need to learn how to keep my composure, because it seems like at training I strike good, but then in fights, as soon as I get jabbed, I'm throwing like haymakers and stuff. So I think it all comes with experience and stuff.
It's all that training you were doing with Chris Lieben.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. He's really technical. Not a lot of people know that, but he knows a lot about every aspect of the game. I was just teasing you.
Yeah.
You made your UFC debut in December of 2014, and you had your last fight in the UFC in April of 2015, so you were only able to call yourself a UFC fighter for 5 months. You had a very quick stint with the UFC. How disappointing was that for you? Because here you are, a young guy in the sport, you get your opportunity to fight in the UFC, and then 5 months later, you're right back out on the regional circuit. At some points, because it was so quick, did it even feel like you were in the UFC? What was that like for you, having such a quick run in the UFC?
I really don't know. It was kind of like a disappointment at first, but I was ready to get right back on the ball. Like, right after I got kicked out of the UFC, I was, like, determined to make it back in the UFC. Like, 3 weeks later after I got kicked out, I was fighting again. I finished the year strong with 3 fights in 3 months. And, just problems just happened this year. I'm making sure it won't ever happen again next year or the year after. Stuff happens in life. It's just how life is. There's ups and downs, and whatever don't kill you, make you stronger and stuff.
You've mentioned these problems a couple times. What kind of problems are we talking about, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know, just disagreements, getting in trouble, training problems and stuff. Just not getting along with your coaches. We've been coached and trained at the same gym for over 5 years. Stuff happens, you need talk and makeup and stuff, and it's always something new. It's like living with someone. Eventually, they gonna get on your nerves. You just gotta see them every day and stuff. It ain't like a relationship's gonna be perfect in any way.
Because you're on a 5-fight win streak, and because you've been doing so well as of late, do you think a win on November 3rd gets you another chance in the UFC?
Yes, I hope I do, because, I lost those fights in the UFC, but it wasn't, pure domination. They just destroyed me. I was in the fight. If they were going to destroy me, they would have finished me by, knockout or submission. They couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. I didn't leave out those fights, really damaged or anything like that. So I really believe I can hang with the big boys in those shows. Corey Anderson was a top 10, and he still couldn't finish me. He didn't do that much damage to me either. So I'm pretty sure if I make it back, I'm pretty sure they're looking at me, and they're going to want me back. And if they don't get me back after this fight, I guarantee you I'll be fighting December or January. I'm going to be calling my manager and trying to get another fight. I'm really trying to get back into this sport now. Next year is going to be a banger. I'm at least get 4 or 5 fights next year and make sure they're calling me by the end of next year.
When the UFC cut you, what did they say to you? Did they just give you the traditional, hey, you know what, go back to the regional circuit, win a couple fights, and we'll bring you back? Was it the traditional speech they give everyone? Or
No, they pretty much said the normal thing. They kind of think I was still kind of unexperienced. But the only reason I feel like they really invited me in there was one dude was injured to replace me, and my first 3 fights in pro, I was pretty much like a brawler. I'll go in the middle of the ring and I'll just strike with anyone, and that's the kind of fighters they want. But after getting kicked out of the UFC, it kind of matured me. I know I got to wear out my opponent a little bit now before I start brawling with them and stuff. For openings, not just go out there guns blazing when we're both fresh and I can end up getting cut wide open or something like that.
Of the 5 wins that you've had since leaving the UFC, what would you say has been your best performance?
I don't know, because I really don't consider any of my fights the best performance, but I remember quite a few of my wins, like five of my wins in a row were by guillotine, but everyone's catching on to that now. So now I had to go to like TKO, like body shots now and stuff, and ground and pound. I can't just choke out people everyone's looking for. So everyone's like, the more fights I have, everyone's gonna know what my game is. So I'm gonna have to start figuring out new things and new tricks up my sleeve. And I am from a jiu-jitsu gym, so I do have way more moves than just a guillotine off the ground. So they better be watching out for heel hooks and flying kimuras and everything.
During the early days of your MMA career, the expectations were very low. Not a lot of people knew you, and especially during your amateur days, a lot of promoters were bringing you in expecting you to lose. Now, fast forward a couple of years, and since you fought in the UFC and now have returned to the regional circuit, it's completely different. Now a lot of people are expecting great things from you. A lot of people are expecting you to win all these fights, and you're viewed as the favorite. So is it a welcome change? Are you happy with now being viewed as the favorite, or would you still like to be playing that underdog role?
Well, I feel it as a welcome change because then, like, everyone feels like they have something to prove. Like, everyone wants to be in the UFC, so fighting me now, they're thinking if they beat me, Dana White and all the other matchmakers and stuff are going to be looking at them. So then it makes me have to up my game. That's why I'm thinking Mike Moreno is thinking, as in, like, oh, if I beat Justin Lazy Bones Jones that's on a kill streak right now, that the UFC is going to be looking at me. It gives them an ego booster. And I'm there to shut that down any way possible.
On November 3rd, you're fighting Mike Moreno. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
It's hard to say because his last fight was like 2013, 2012, and he only got one fight in 2015, and that's the main one I'm focusing on. So Mike Moreno, I see that he got submitted 3 times and lost by 2 decisions. So my game is to take him down and submit him. I know he can try to keep it standing, and standing, I noticed he liked to throw bombs, and I like to throw bombs, so I have to be really careful because with 4-ounce gloves on, all it takes is one hit. And my last opponent, and I got a really strong jaw, he barely hit me with a jab and I fell over, so I have to be really careful, open up my eyes that I got to keep my hands up more often and be really careful with small gloves on.
Who's going to be in your corner for the fight?
Tony Palafox and Charles Taylor Johnson, my striking coach and my wrestling coach.
For this fight, you're traveling way north. You're from San Diego. This fight's going to be taking place in Lemoore, California. Still the same state, but not very close. I can't imagine you're selling a whole bunch of tickets, but is your uncle the loudest man in the crowd? Is he going to be there?
Yes, he said he's going to be there. He already took his day off the other day. My number one fan.
Does he love fighting, or does he just love you? Because he's always the loudest guy in the crowd. I'm looking forward to hearing him when I watch this fight.
Yes, he loves fighting. Ever since I started fighting, he started paying more attention to the UFC and stuff, so he's getting more into this sport and seeing what kind of people I'll be fighting when I get back into the big leagues.
Did he make it to any of your UFC fights?
Yes, he made it to the one in Las Vegas, but they couldn't make it to the one in Virginia.
Oh, I see. This fight on November 3rd is going to be taking place at middleweight. Throughout your career, you've bounced up and down between light heavyweight and middleweight. Going forward, what weight class do you see yourself competing in? Do you think you're going to stay at middleweight, or do you think you'll eventually go back up to 205? Going forward, what weight class do you see yourself fighting in?
I see myself fighting at 185 because 205, I'm fighting at that weight class, but it's kind of easy to make that weight. Like, if I got to cut weight tomorrow to make it, I could make 205. I'm not that big of a 205er. But the problem is, like, a lot of times I have trouble fighting people at 185 because no one really wants to fight me. But at 205, everyone wants to fight me because everyone has a size advantage, and that's really dangerous. And going back to UFC, if they called me and said they need to replace me 205, I will take it because it's the UFC. But eventually, after that fight, I'm going to go back down to 185 because I'm a pretty big 185er, but I just don't got the height on anyone, though. That's the sad part about it.
After you beat John Hackelman Jr. at RFA 15 back in June of 2014, you said you were interested in fighting at welterweight. Is that still on the table? Are you still thinking about possibly moving down to welterweight?
Welterweight is 170?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did consider that, but I love to eat. I can't diet for like 3 months straight. And I'm kind of thinking now, I could make it, but I don't think I'll be physically strong, and I'll be like Anthony Rumble Johnson and
Right.
be powerful the first round, then the second round comes, and you're just kind of just done and tired and exhausted because their whole camp, you're just busy focusing on cutting weight and having a depressing life every day.
Well, if you shave your chest, I'm sure you'll be able to make 170 no problem. Are you ever going to shave your chest?
Yeah, maybe. They always say I got a sweater on my chest and stuff and taco meat. I don't think so, because every time I shave or something, I break out, get itchy. I used to shave my face. My face would break out. Even if I go to a barber, I went to 3 or 4 different barbers, they keep on saying they know how to shave it, it won't break out. It still breaks out, so I'm really careful with that stuff.
Hobbies outside of fighting?
I was doing pretty good. I have a job as a janitor, stuff like that. Sometimes helping teach the class and stuff, learning how to hold pads for people, trying to make the team stronger, trying to become better as a person. So it's not bad. Most of the time, just at the gym all day.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or superstitions?
Nope. Besides yelling and screaming and stuff before the fight just to get my lungs open and more relaxed. But besides that, nothing.
Do you have any post-fight rituals?
Nope. I don't got any superstitions like that really at all. It's just I always feel like hard work pays off. Nothing's gonna stop you from losing if you didn't train hard enough for it.
What motivates you in life and in fighting?
To make my family and my team proud and have people to look up to when I get older. I have kids. I want my kids to look up to me.
Besides fighting, what are you passionate about?
Nothing really. I don't have a passion. I don't think I like working really, but working pays the bills and everything. So I'll probably be lazy if I can just make money just sitting around at home all day, hanging out with my friends and partying and stuff. I'll probably go work out because I got too much free time on my hands, but I really don't have a passion for anything.
Celebrity people say you look like?
I don't know. People think I look like a football player or something. I don't know why, but I don't think I'm as big as a football player.
Are you really only 5'11"?
Yeah. Saying that, I might be 5'11" and a half, but every time I go to the doctor, they say 70 inches. That's like 5'11" or 5'11" and a half. They keep on saying I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I thought you were like 6'3" or 6'4". You just look bigger than 5'11". I just can't believe it. So when I looked it up and I saw your height and weight, I was like, wait, 5'11"? This can't be right. Did they have the right guy? Justin Jones, that's a common name, so maybe they mixed you up with someone else, but you're really only 5'11".
Yeah, everyone says that at the gym, too, and everyone I fight is like 6'2", 6'3". I'm like shorter than everyone I fight, so I just got a height disadvantage in most cases. So I got to be like an aggressive fighter and stuff, because being short, you can't just stay on the outside and dance around all day.
Celebrity crush?
If you consider Donald Cerrone a celebrity, even though it sounds gay, I love that guy. He always comes out to fight and put people to sleep.
That's funny. Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
Don't have one. It's just whatever song I hear on the radio that day is probably going to be stuck in my head.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with and why?
Probably Bill Gates, because he's one of the richest people in the world.
And then transfer all of his money over to you because you're only going to be him for a week?
Yep.
That's funny. If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay and why?
Probably 25, because that's like the peak. It's like you're not too young where you're 21 and you're finally just growing into a grown man. 25, you still have a high metabolism. You're still super healthy. 30, you get grown man strength, but I don't know how true that is, because I fight people in 30 and they still feel super weak. But at 25, I still got a high metabolism and stuff. Like, I'm like 29 now, and it feels like my retirement's slowing down. I got to watch my diet and everything, and got to be careful with it. You get injured, they take longer to heal and stuff. You start feeling more tired in the morning, so I feel like 25 is the perfect age. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock every morning and go to 24-hour fitness, start my day early, and still have energy for the entire day.
Favorite food?
Sushi, because they got different varieties, and I love it.
Favorite TV show, and it can be a show currently on the air or a show no longer on the air. Just overall, favorite TV show.
Probably Sunny in Philadelphia. I love comedies. Super funny.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
I'm really bad with that because I'm bad with singers and actors. I don't have one.
I can tell you did say your celebrity crush was Donald Cerrone, so. Who gave you the nickname Lazy Bones?
My main coach, Tony Palafox, because sometimes I'm sitting around at the gym, horsing around, talking. But I'm at the gym all day working hard, and no one can take that away from me. Usually when I'm training hard, I usually have the top cardio at the gym. I might not be the best, but it'll be really hard to break me before I break my opponent. And that's always the case in all my fights. If you ever see, even if they're better, I will go in there in the third round coming strong, and they'll just give up. Like, this guy just keep coming, and or not have a tap or a knockout or something.
You're not a big fan of social media, are you?
Nah.
What happened to your Twitter? You haven't tweeted out anything since, like, August 2nd, I think it was. What exactly happened there? Why have you abandoned Twitter?
Usually I don't really tweet stuff out unless I have a sponsor that I got to tweet out, but I never was a big fan of Twitter and stuff. I don't really care about people knowing where I eat and stuff, where I'm at hanging out. It seems like everyone in this world wants to be a celebrity and stuff. And like, I know I need to do it, and next year I'm going to change that and start posting more because that's the part of the game and stuff. But after a long day of like working out, and being busy all day, the last thing I want to do is go online, have to log into Facebook, then log into Instagram, then Twitter, and make the same post, man. I just want to go home and sleep.
You're known for being a striker, but 5 of your 8 wins have come by way of submission. So, what do you like to win a fight with better, a knockout or submission?
Oh, I always love the knockouts. I just wish I had more knockouts by KO instead of TK. I just want to hit them standing and they just fall apart. So I put more fear into people's eyes, but that's never the case. I feel like my punches are like really inaccurate, but when I hit them, even though it's inaccurate, it still puts the fear into their eyes.
Is the guillotine choke your favorite submission?
Yes, because I can get it from side control when they're defending it because my arms are so long that I can just reach around and just choke them. I use that move a lot, and it's really dangerous, but everyone's starting to know it now, not to put their head into the pockets. Back to the drawing board.
What would you rather be? Would you rather be the best fighter in the world, or would you rather be the highest paid fighter in the world? What means more to you, glory or wealth?
Honestly, I'd rather be the highest paid fighter in the world because even if I am the greatest 100 years from now, I don't think anyone's going to be paying attention to me, really. It's not that important, my legacy. At the end of the day, it's all about making that money and being successful. I mean, no one's going to be talking about me or looking at my videos way ages from now at all. So, it's just, my family going to be really proud of me, but no one else really is.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
I don't really have a best. Well, one of the most successful things I figured I did in MMA was my fight in San Jose when they flew me out in amateur. The fight, I can't remember the guy's name, but a college wrestler, they sent me out there to lose, and everyone was expecting me to lose. And I won the 205 title against the number 1 dude in California. That was one of my most successful times because that was the first time I was ever like underdog, and everyone was underestimating me.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
Honestly, it's kind of like weird, but I think the worst thing that ever happened to me was when I was young and my dad passed away pretty much. that was like a hard time of my life because when I was like, I think the first grade or something, my dad died. But then the next year, my cat died. It was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? It was just a rough time. My English was behind, everything.
What's your pet peeve?
I don't know. I really don't have a pet peeve that I can think of on the top of my head. Sorry. Someone driving me around and on the passenger and they just can't drive. I don't know, usually my buddies or something, and they just, some of them, you have different friends that drive, and some of them, they just like, about to run a stop sign, about to run a light, and it's like, dude, it's a red light, watch out. It's like, give me a heart attack, making a turn and running over the curb. It's like, oh my gosh, next time I'm driving, dude, don't get a wrong kill.
Person you look up to the most?
I'll say my uncle. Yep, my uncle's a hard worker. He always been a hard worker. Like, even in my last fight when it was on pay-per-view, it was like only like $5 or $10. And, most people when $5 or $10 on the internet don't work. Like, the streaming ain't working. They won't get their money back. My uncle, he's all about the principle. I look up to that, and I admire that. Even if it's $5 is $1, he's still going to get his money back. He wrote a report about it. Everything, the exact time, everything, the reason why, a whole paper. And most people wouldn't do that, but after hearing him do that, it makes me want to do that too then next time something happens like that, even if it's only $1. It's all about the principle, because, most people actually get their money back, and they just made a killing, and the streaming didn't even work. It's all about business at the end of the day.
What's your uncle's name, by the way? We brought him up a couple times. What's his name?
Ray Lemons. He's one of the hardest workers in my family. He works all the time. He works at a medical office right now. He manages things and stuff, people. And then he go work at a church just like I do as a janitor. And he went to college to be for church, like pastor things and stuff like that. So he's always busy all the time, and he's old, and he's still a hard worker, 24/7. He knows what hard work is, and I want to be like that one day.
How old is he?
I think he's like mid-50s. I honestly don't know.
Okay. And he's related to you how? He's your dad's brother, or he's your mom's brother? How are you two related? He's my mom's sister's husband. I grew up with them. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, so when I was young, he's pretty much like a dad to me. Like, pretty much when I was young, when my dad died, pretty much I lived with them, past my life. We moved in with my aunt and uncle and my cousins, and I grew up with them most of my life. So they were extremely close to me.
Let's say you found a magic lamp, and you rubbed that magic lamp, and a genie appeared, and the genie said he was going to grant you 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be?
To be a billionaire, get my dad back, and I don't really have a third wish, really. To have a secure, safe, happy life. To have a happy life, I guess.
Some people are afraid of spiders, some people are afraid of heights, some people are afraid of the dark. What are you afraid of?
Honestly, I'm afraid of dying long legs, man. It's like, I kill them sometimes, but sometimes I look out too long, I get kind of scared, all right, I ain't gonna mess with it, because when I was young, I was watching TV one day, and the day long leg fell right into my mouth.
Oh, God.
After that day, I was, terrified of it.
Best advice you ever given through life, and best advice you ever given through fighting, and who gave it to you?
Well, one of my quotes that I probably said in an interview a long time ago was, "Fortune favors the boy." I read that out of a fortune cookie, and I think it's true. You got to gamble on life to make it big. And I don't know the best advice I ever really got besides that.
Okay.
I had my mind made up since I was a little kid what I was going to do. I already had my mind up that I was going to go to college and stuff. And whatever I do, that I was going to be successful with it. Right after high school, 2 or 3 weeks later, I went straight to college, taking 3 classes over the summer. Anything I go for, usually I go for with 110%. I'm not going to be slacking half doing it and everything like that. I want my family to be proud of me.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
Probably problems and failures, looking like I go everywhere and I give 110%, but it's always that little, 1% of your brain figuring, what if I fail at this and I'm 35 years old and pretty much didn't make it anywhere in life, and I could have just been a cop when I was 18 or 19 or something, and not just been wasting my time.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
I guess travel the world.
What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent? I don't even think I even have a hidden talent. Nothing really.
It's still hidden, huh?
Yeah, unless a hidden talent is just really hard to choke me or something.
Last question, Justin. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
If I could change anything about this world, I'll probably change all the problems, the war, and everything, because it feels like the United States is going to get another war within 5 years with someone. There's always some problems on the news. Now they're having problems with North Korea and everything. And it's always going to be a problem, and thousands of people are dying for, I feel like, no reason over silly stuff.
Justin, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you want to say to the fans?
Yes, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Virus, for helping me out with everything, Jason House and stuff. I'd like to give a shout-out to my coaches, Tony Palafox, Taylor Johnson, Craig Baker, Ding Lister, Jocko, Jeff Rio, Jeff Glover, Jr., and all my other coaches. Sorry if I forgot anyone.
Justin, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck November 3rd at Tachi Palace Fights 29 against Mike Marino.
Thanks a lot, sir.